So now let's talk about how to create dynamic sections. So if I go back to our small text here, a dynamic sections in Shopify is a flexible, customizable content block that can be added, removed, or rearranged through the theme editor without editing the code, like from the merchant side. Dynamic sections are made of three parts. So the first part is the HTML and liquid markup. So that defines the layouts and display the content, and using liquid code to output dynamic data. That's going to be the HTML and the liquid markup. The second part is going to be the schema. So the schema is going to be a JSON object that defines editable settings, blocks, and presets for the theme editor. And the last part is going to be the assets, everything about JavaScript and CSS, and you have different way you can add assets to your section file. You can use the assets directory and just like connect it with your file. I'm going to show you, or you can use this HTML tag, for example, to write your CSS. You can use this HTML script to add your JavaScript, or you can also use dynamic liquid style sheet or dynamic JavaScript liquid script. Okay, so this one is going to be in the case you have a section that you want to reuse on other website, for example, you're going to use this style sheet and JavaScript because it's going to inject the code directly inside the, if I open our VS Code, it's going to inject the code inside the content for header. In the case you use this liquid style sheet and liquid JavaScript. All right, so I'm gonna have some example here. So we're gonna learn with this example, but before to do that, let me show you something. So there is also like two ways to add a dynamic section in Shopify. The first way is to add it directly inside our template here. All section that you're creating could be accessed in different template here without any problem. Okay, so let's say we want to create a section and we want it to be accessed inside the index, for example. So first let's go to section. I'm gonna create, let's call it card, let's call it new card, and that's liquid. This must be that's liquid. And first of all, I'm going to show you a bit hard way to create a section. So let me first of all add some markup here. I'm gonna say h1. So this is a dynamic section. Let me close this one. Let me save it. So the first way we can add it without using any schema here, or even with the schema, we can go directly to choose one of our templates. So let me choose the indexed one, and I can go. Yeah, it's going to be a bit cumbersome for you if you're a beginner, but I can close these first two objects here and I will create a new one. So I will give it first a random key. So I can call it my new, and I will open this bracket, and the first element here is going to be a type. If in the case you have some confusion, you can reference to my Shopify series in my channel. The type here is going to be the name of our section we just created, just without the extension. So we created this section here called new card. So I'm gonna call it here new card, and I'm gonna do it without adding the extension, that's liquid. And here we can add the settings. It's going to be an object, and we can leave it like this. Okay, I'm gonna save it. If I check my code, I have no error whatsoever. And if I go back now to my code and I reload, we have an error because we forgot to add it in order. So let me go back to my VS Code. Let me come back here, and we need to add this random setting ID key inside here. And if I do, and I save it, and I go back, and I go back again here, if I scroll down, we're gonna have this one here. This is a dynamic section. And if I go back to my editor also, and I refresh, we're going to have this new card added also here. Okay, and we can go to add more settings about it if you want to, but if you observe well, we cannot remove it here. We can just hide it, we can't remove it. Okay, but this one we can remove, but this we can't. So if we want the best way to be able to remove, because now we can just rearrange, we can add it on top if you want to. but we can't remove it, okay, because this section is missing the preset schema. So let's go and create it like the second way. So the second way is anyway, when you're creating a section, even though you don't add it here yourself, okay, when you're gonna add it using the preset and you pull your code, it's gonna add it here automatically. It was just to show you, just to be aware of that in the case you need to edit some code here directly. So let me remove this one, let me save it. So everything is gone. So we don't have this text here anymore. And let's go create it like the other way. So as we said earlier, so the dynamic section is composed with 3 parts. The first part is the HTML and the liquid markup. The second part is the assets, CSS and JavaScript. And the third part is the schema. So for now, let's keep this H1 here as a markup for HTML. And I'm gonna create a schema. I'm gonna give it a name. No worry, I'm going to explain all these keys very soon. But for now, let's give it a name. So we're gonna call it new card. And I will skip the setting for now. And just below, I'm gonna create the preset. This key preset is gonna give you the possibility to add, remove the section inside your code editor. So it is very important to have this preset here. If you don't have it, you can't add this section to the code editor. So the preset will accept an object, and this object is gonna accept a name. So we're gonna give it the same name we give on top there. So new card, and we're gonna give it some settings for now, and I'm gonna save it. All right. So if I go back to my code now, to my code editor, and I refresh here, I'm now going to be able to add the section. So if I click on add section and I look here for new card, and as you can see, it's not coming. That's very interesting. So let me refresh again. Okay, it seems like we have some error. Class can't be blank. Okay, let's go fix that error for now. So let me give it a class. Let's call it new card. Let's save it. Let's go back. Okay, we have no error anymore. That's good. So if I come back again, let me refresh one more time. And if I go to add section, and if I look new card, and there you go, we have our new card over here, and it's right here. This is the one we did earlier, and we can remove that. There you go. So we have our new dynamic section over here. Okay, so I will show a quick demonstration, and then we're gonna do a proper section. I'm gonna code it with HTML and CSS, and then you're gonna see how to add data, to remove data, and etc. So here inside the settings, I'm going to create a quick setting for text. So the type is going to be text. In the case you don't know how to do that, I'm going to have a link on my description to show you how to create this input in my Shopify series. Okay, so we're gonna give it an ID. It's going to be text, and then we're gonna give it a label. So let's say text, and we can stop for now like this. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add this dynamic input here inside our text. Okay, so to access that, we're gonna use this syntax. So first of all, we need to go with double curlies. So to access the section data here, to access the data object inside here, we need to go section and then dots, and then to access this key that is called settings. And then once you got the settings, we want to access the ID, because the ID is going to be a unique identifier. So in my case, it's called text. And as once this is done, we can add some if statement here, just to say if this condition are true. Let me add some else here. Okay, so if this condition is not empty, okay, if it's not blank, then we want to show this one. Okay, if it's blank, then we show this dynamic section text, or we can just use a default text here. Is the same. So if I save it now and I go to my VS Code, to my code editor, and I refresh the page and I click again on card, you can see now we have a setting card here. So I can click now and I can say hello there, and it's going to update dynamically. So this is why dynamic sections are very cool, And this is how you create a dynamic section.